Building muscle didn't just change my body, it changed my brain. My name is Gio Wallace. I went from 100 pounds to 180 pounds and running a successful business. When I came to the United States, I didn't know any English, and the physique wasn't my goal. It was my foundation for everything else. I graduated with a molecular biology degree, and in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you the psychological transformation that happens when you build muscle. The part that nobody talks about. First, how discipline in the gym transferred to every area of your life. Second, the neuroscience of why hard psychological training literally rewires your brain for success. And third, why the confidence you think comes from building muscle actually comes from something completely different, scientifically proven. By the end of the video, you'll understand why your physique is just a starting point, why successful people across every industry prioritize their physical health, and why the real transformation isn't physical, it's actually mental. And if you've been treating the gym as just a place to look good, you're missing the entire point. Let me start to where I was. I was 100 pounds, invisible. People talked over me, through me, around me. Girls thought I was their son, literally. I'd walk into a room and nobody noticed. People didn't respect me. It was only until I started speaking because of my communication skills, but that's a problem for a whole nother conversation. I decided to build muscle because I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be respected, people to take me seriously. And through bigger muscles, I thought it was gonna come with more respect. And I was right, but not for the reason I thought. When I got to 180 pounds, which was my goal initially, I wanted to be 160, I went to 180. People treated me differently. Social situations were a lot easier, but here's what I didn't expect. I became a different person internally. The gym didn't just build my body, it built my capacity to handle hard things, to delay gratification, to push through discomfort, and to keep promises to myself. And those skills were transferred to everything else. In the next couple of minutes, I am going to be explaining to you the psychology of what actually happens when you train consistently. Every time you go to the gym, when you don't feel like it, you're doing something most people can't do. You're overriding your immediate desire for comfort and choosing long-term result instead. That's called delayed gratification, and it's the single best predictor of success in life. There's a famous study, the Stanford Marshmallow Experiment, where researchers gave kids a choice. Eat one marshmallow now or wait 15 minutes and get two. And in this study, they tracked those kids for 40 years. And the kids who could delay gratification, meaning those who waited for the second marshmallow, had higher SAT scores, better career outcomes, healthier relationships, and lower rates of addiction. The ability to delay gratification, which can be developed, predicted the success better than IQ, better than family health, and better than any other factor we have. And here's the thing, the gym is delayed gratification training. You lift weights today, you don't see results today. You see them in 12 weeks, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. You eat chicken or rice instead of pizza. Not because chicken tastes better, but because you're choosing your future results over immediate pleasure. You go to bed early instead of watching Netflix. Not because sleeping is fun, but because you know recovery matters more than entertainment. Pretty much every single decision in fitness is practiced in delayed gratification. And your brain doesn't compartmentalize, meaning the discipline you build in the gym bleeds into every other area of your life, thankfully. When I started training consistently, I noticed something strange. I started showing up to other commitments on time. I started finishing projects that I used to abandon, started saving money instead of spending it immediately, started getting into classes early and actually paying attention. I wasn't trying to change those things, they just happened automatically. Why? Because I had to rewire my brain to prioritize long-term gains over short-term comfort. A study published by the Journal of Applied Psychology found that people who exercise regularly have significantly higher levels of self-discipline in unrelated areas of their life. They're more likely to stick to budgets, more likely to complete work projects on time, more likely to maintain relationships. The gym doesn't just build muscle, it builds the psychological infrastructure for success in everything else. Let me show you the second thing that happened. You learn to embrace discomfort. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding discomfort. They stay in jobs they hate because changing is just uncomfortable. They stay in bad relationships because being alone is uncomfortable. They never start the business because failure is uncomfortable. Their entire decision framework is built around avoiding pain. It's like you're living in a vacation in a DR for a year. You don't want to go back to reality. It happens to me all the time. The gym teaches you the opposite. It teaches you that discomfort is where growth happens. When you're doing a heavy set of squats and your legs are burning through every single workout, but you do one more rep anyway, you're training your brain to push through discomfort. That's not just physical training, that's psychological training. There's research in neuroscience showing that when you voluntarily expose yourself to stress to overcome it, you build what's called stress inoculation. Your brain learns, I can handle these things. Discomfort doesn't break me. I'm stronger than I think. That transferred everywhere because that's an identity change. When I started my business, I had to do things that terrified me. I had to leave a career in medicine, literally in medical school, to pursue this, and posting content online just seems silly. Also, investing money that I didn't have. Every single one of those things were extremely uncomfortable. They're still uncomfortable to this day. but I did them anyway because I had spent 2 years doing uncomfortable things in the gym every single week. My brain has learned that discomfort is temporary and growth is permanent. I'm not special. I'm not courageous that you are. I just had more practice doing those hard things. Here's the third psychological shift. Progressive overload teaches you that small actions compound. In the gym, you don't go and bench 45 pounds to benching 225 overnight. You add 2.5 pounds, tiny amount of weight progressively. Over 2 years, that tiny progress compounds into massive transformations. Most people fail in life because they want immediate massive results. They want to start a business and be a millionaire in 6 months. They want to post one video and go viral immediately. They want instant transformation. When it doesn't happen, they quit. I've been posting on YouTube and I'm going to post 100 videos and I'm not going to expect anything because I already know what it feels like working without expecting anything. I remember when I first walked into Planet Fitness, I was 100 pounds. And the idea of weighing 180, 200 seemed insanely impossible. That's 80% increase in body weight. But I didn't focus on 180. I actually focused on adding 1 pound more per week. 1 pound per week over 2 years is 104 pounds and I gained 80. So that's pretty close enough. So the lesson is, if you approach to 100% and you reach 80, you did pretty good and a lot better than you did yesterday. What about building a business? But don't focus on the $1 million. Focus on the next client. Building a social media following, don't focus on 100,000. Focus on posting the first valuable video, then another one, then another one. Learning a skill, don't focus on the mastery. Focus on practicing 30 minutes a day, then tomorrow, then the next day. The gym taught me that consistency beats intensity. Small tasks and actions compound. You don't need a great start. You need to start to be great. Now, here's the thing most people get wrong about confidence. They think confidence comes from muscle. They think if I get this bigger, I'm going to be this confident. And it's completely backward. Confidence doesn't start from having muscle. Confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say, I'm going to the gym today, and you actually go, you're proving to yourself that you keep your word and literally changing the folds of your brain to realize you're a new person. That's what builds confidence. Not the muscle, but the evidence that you're someone who does what they say they're going to do. I see guys all the time who have great physiques but zero confidence. And why that is? Because they didn't build it themselves. Took steroids to shortcut the process. The muscle is there, but the confidence isn't because they didn't build psychological foundation. Now compare that to the guy who started 100 pounds and trained for 2 years, ate when he didn't want to, went to the gym when he was tired, tracked every workout, added weight every week, and built himself from nothing. That guy is gonna be and have unshakable confidence. Not because of the muscle, but because he has 2 years of evidence that he's capable of doing hard things and getting results. That's the fundamental difference. Let me show you how this played out in my life. When I was 100 pounds, I avoided confrontation. I said yes to everything because I was afraid of conflict. I let people walk over me because I didn't believe I deserved better. When I got to 180, and a lot before then, I started setting boundaries. I started saying no. I started asking for what I wanted. I started approaching people, approaching the opposite sex. Did the muscle give me permission to do that? Well, no. But discipline that I built in the gym gave me the evidence that I could handle discomfort even if I was rejected or standing up for myself. When I started my business, I had to pitch myself to potential clients. I had to put myself out there. I had to risk rejection. And did the muscle make me better at sales? No. But the mental toughness I built during hard sets when I wanted to quit, that made me better at sales because I had to practice pushing through discomfort. When I had to invest money I didn't have into my business, it was terrifying. I was leaving medical school. What if I failed? What if I lost everything? Did the muscle make me braver? Well, no. But the 2 years of delayed gratification, eating meals I didn't want, going to the gym when I was tired, trusting the progress even if I didn't see immediate results, that made me braver because I had evidence that investing into the future pays off. Here's what I need you to understand. Your physique is not the destination. It's the training grounds for something greater. The discipline you build in the gym, that's the discipline you need to build a business. The delayed gratification that you need to practice to do your nutrition, that's the delayed gratification you need to build wealth or get the love of your life. The discomfort tolerance you develop doing hard sets, that's the discomfort tolerance you need to have difficult conversations, take risks, grow, and get rejected. The confidence you build by keeping promises to yourself, that's the confidence you need to ask for a promotion, start relationships, pursue your dreams. Building muscle is the easiest way to build all of these things because the feedback is immediate. You can measure it, you can see it, you can track it. You can't see discipline, but you can see weight on a bar going up. You can't measure mental toughness, but you can measure how many reps you did when you wanted to quit. You can't quantify confidence, but you can quantify the promise you kept to yourself over 2 years. The gym is a lab for building psychology psychology of success. And here's the beautiful part. Most people will never understand this. They'll see your physique and think that you just got lucky with genetics. They'll see your success and think you just got a good opportunity. They won't see the 2 years of showing up when you didn't feel like it. They won't see the thousands of meals you ate when you weren't hungry. They won't see the meals that you didn't eat, the mental wiring that happened at the same time. But you'll know, and that's what matters. Here's the action step though. Stop treating the gym as just a place to build muscle. Start treating it like a training ground to build yourself. Every workout is a practice in discipline. Every hard set is a practice of discomfort tolerance. Every week is progressive overloading in practice in delayed gratification. Every promise you keep to yourself is evidence that you're capable of transformation. And when you build a foundation, when you prove to yourself you can transform your body, you realize you can transform pretty much anything. Your business, your relationship, your financial situation, and even your entire life. Because the limiting factor was never your circumstances, it was your psychology. And the gym is where you fix that. If you want a complete system, the exact protocols for building not just your physique, but your mind, your social skills, your image, and your life systems, that's what I do, and you can see the link and apply down below. But honestly, what I just told you is more than enough for you to do a mindset shift and change everything. Building muscle is the foundation. Everything else is built on top of it. My name is Gio Wallace, and I went from 100 pounds to 180 pounds and building a business from scratch, not because I'm special, but because I learned that the gym builds more than muscle. Subscribe if you want and understand this is a deeper game. Watch the next video if you prefer. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be helpful if you like this one. I'll see you later, my boy.